glue that holds real conversations together. When Bob said he bought plastic wrap which was completely useless, that little which was just connected his whole story so smoothly. You don't need big, complicated vocabulary to run errands. You just need a few of these natural connectors. I want you to remember something the next time you walk into a grocery store or a post office. The people working there, they are tired. They are thinking about their lunch break. They are not waiting to grade your English.
They really aren't. They just want the transaction to go smoothly, just like you do.
Exactly. So if you need to say, "Could you repeat that?" Or if you just nod and say yes to a question you didn't fully understand, it's okay. It's just groceries. It doesn't define your worth, and it doesn't mean you're failing. You're doing something incredibly brave just by living your life in a second language.
I mean it. If you're out there trying, you're doing better than you think.
And that's exactly what I want you to hear. You're in the right place, and we are so proud of you. If this conversation made you feel a little lighter today, make sure to like the video and subscribe so we can keep having these chats.
And leave us a comment below. Tell us, what is one item you've bought by mistake because you were too nervous to ask for help? We've all been there.
Plastic wrap for Bob. We can't wait to read yours. And please share this episode with one friend who gets nervous before speaking. Let's remind them they aren't alone either.
Take care, everyone. See you next time.
Bye, guys. You've got this. You know that moment when someone asks you, "So, what do you like to do?" And you freeze.
Yeah.
Like you know the answer. In your head, it's so clear. You love hiking or cooking, or you've been obsessed with this TV show for months. But the words, the words just don't come.
They disappear, like completely.
And so you end up saying, "Oh, I don't know, nothing special." And you walk away feeling kind of small, like you didn't get to show who you really are.
That's the thing, though. It's not that your English is bad. It's that talking about the things you love, the real stuff, the personal stuff, that's actually hard. Even for people who've been speaking English for years.
Actually, I want to say that again because I really need you to hear it. Talking about your passions is one of the most personal things you can do in any language. Of course it feels scary.
I mean, I still stumble over it sometimes. Someone asks me what I'm into, and I kind of just ramble. And I'm a native speaker, so...
So if you've ever said, "Nothing special," when really there is something special, you've just never found the words for it in English, stay with us, because by the end of this episode, it's going to feel a lot lighter. I promise.
Yeah, let's do this.
Okay, so can we just talk about the thing that happens? Like the actual thing?
The blank face thing?
Yes. You're talking to someone, maybe a colleague, maybe someone you just met, and they go, "So, what do you do in your free time?" And your brain just presents you with nothing, like an empty shelf.
It's so weird because you probably have hobbies. You definitely do things on weekends. But in that moment, it's like, did I? Have I ever done anything?
Exactly! And then you panic and you say something really vague like, I like music? And they go, oh, cool, what kind? And now you're even more stuck.
Yeah, the follow-up question. That's the real trap.
And here's what I want you to know. That's not a language problem. That is a confidence problem. A lot of people, even in their own language, don't have the habit of talking about themselves this way, especially if no one's asked them in a while.
To be honest, I grew up kind of quiet. Not shy, just I didn't talk about my hobbies much. So even in English, it took me a while to figure out how to, describe what I actually enjoy doing, in a way that sounds natural.
That's such a good point. And I think there's also this other thing, this fear of sounding silly. Like, what if my hobby sounds boring to them?
Oh, totally. You think, oh, they probably think hiking is boring, or they'll laugh if I say I collect something weird.
But here's the secret. People don't care what your hobby is. They care that you're excited about it. Enthusiasm is contagious. It's way more interesting to hear someone talk passionately about, I don't know, making candles,
Sure, candles.
than to hear someone give a totally flat answer about something impressive. Energy matters more than the topic.
Yeah. I mean, I once talked to this guy at a party for 40 minutes about the history of fountain pens. And I don't even use fountain pens. I got pulled in because he was so into it.
See? That's exactly it. Okay, Bob, story time. Because I know you have one.
I do, yeah.
This feels related to something that happened to you, right? The hobby conversation thing?
Yeah, actually. So this was, I want to say maybe 5, 6 years ago. I was living abroad at the time, in a city where I didn't speak the language super well. And I joined this kind of informal running group, like people who met on Saturday mornings to run around the park.
Oh, that's nice.
It was nice, but I barely knew anyone. And after the run, everyone would sit down and have coffee. And I'd just sort of sit there, nodding, because my language skills weren't good enough to really join the conversation.
That feeling. I know that feeling.
And then one Saturday, this woman, her name was, I think, Clara. She sat next to me and she just went, in English, "So, what do you like, outside of running?"
Oof, hot seat.
Right? And I froze. Because in that moment, I couldn't think of a single interesting thing about myself. I was like, I work, I sleep, I run apparently, and that's it? That's my whole personality?
Oh, Bob.
And what came out was, I said, I kind of like cooking, sort of.
You kind of like it? Sort of?
I know. And she looked at me like, is that a question? And then she said, what do you cook? And suddenly I had to come up with an answer. And I ended up talking about this one dish I make. It's actually my grandmother's recipe, a kind of slow-cooked thing. And I started describing it. And then she got excited and started asking more questions. And then someone else joined, and
you were suddenly in the conversation.
yeah, for the first time in weeks. Because I found the one specific thing I could talk about with feeling.
Did you catch that? He didn't need a perfect answer. He didn't need a long list of hobbies. He just needed one thing. One specific, real thing that he actually cared about. And that opened everything up.
It turned out that was enough. I mean, more than enough, honestly.
And that's what we want you to feel by the end of today. Not that you need 10 perfect answers, just one. One real one.
Oh, and Clara and I ended up dating for 2 years. So,
Bob, you buried the lead.
I mean, the cooking story was relevant.
If this sounds like you, if you've ever sat quietly in a room full of people wishing you could just find the words, hit like on this video. It really does help other learners find us. Okay, let's talk about the actual language now. Can I just go back to something you said a minute ago?
Yeah, sure.
You said, I kind of like cooking. Sort of. And I teased you about it, but honestly, that's such a natural way to sound in English.
Oh, yeah, actually. Kind of and sort of. People use those all the time.
All the time. They're not weak. They're human. Like, I sort of got into hiking after the pandemic sounds way more real than I enjoy hiking.
Right. I enjoy hiking sounds like a resume.
Exactly. So, kind of, sort of, a little bit, those make you sound natural. Use them.
And then there's the other thing I did, which was, I ended up just talking about one specific dish, not cooking as a whole concept.
Yes, I ended up. Oh, that phrase. I love that phrase.
It's a great one.
Because I ended up talking about my grandmother's recipe, it tells a story automatically. It has movement. I ended up implies this wasn't the plan, but this is what happened.
It's honest sounding, you know what I mean? Like, I ended up really getting into photography during the lockdown. That's a whole story in 6 words.
Try that one. I ended up finish it with something true about you. That alone can start a great conversation.
And then, the reaction phrase thing. Like when Vanessa said earlier, that's exactly it. That's such a natural connector.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly it. That's the thing. I know, right? Those aren't just filler. They show you're listening. They keep the conversation alive.
To be honest, a lot of English conversation is just showing you're engaged, that you're there.
Which you are. You just need the little phrases to prove it. And actually, one more. The story starter. Oh, that reminds me.
Classic.
It's a golden phrase. Someone mentions something, you go, oh, that reminds me. I actually tried that last year and conversation saved. Every time.
Every time.
Okay, before we go, I want you to think about one thing you genuinely love doing. Not the impressive answer, not the safe answer, the real one. The one you'd talk about for 20 minutes if someone gave you the chance. And I want you to know, that thing, it's interesting. Not because of what it is, because of how you feel about it. You've spent so much time worrying about whether your English is good enough. But the truth is, people want to hear from you. The real you. The one with a hobby and a story and something they genuinely love.
It takes courage to keep learning a language. Honestly, a lot of courage. Most people give up way before you have.
You're still here, still listening, still trying, and that means something.
You're doing better than you think.
And you're in exactly the right place. All right, if you enjoyed this conversation today, hit like. It genuinely helps other learners find us and feel a little less alone in this. And subscribe if you want more conversations just like this one every week.
And we have a question for you in the comments. Tell us, what's one thing you love doing? Doesn't have to be long, doesn't have to be perfect, just one real thing.
We read every comment. We really do.
And if you have a friend who's been afraid to speak English, share this episode with them. Maybe it's exactly what they need to hear today.
Okay, we'll see you in the next one.
Take care of yourselves.
Bye for now. Okay, so, have you ever been in a conversation in English and someone asks you a simple question like, "So, what did you do yesterday?" And suddenly, your brain just stops, like nothing, complete silence inside your head. And you're standing there thinking, I know how to say this. I know what happened yesterday. Why can't I speak?
Yeah, that feeling. I know it well.
It's not because your English is bad. It really isn't. It's because speaking about the past feels different. It feels like there's more to get wrong, more verb forms to remember, more chances to make a mistake. So your brain just freezes. And then the silence gets longer. And then you feel embarrassed. And then you just say, "Oh, nothing special," even when something really happened.
To be honest, I still do that sometimes, and English is my first language. Sometimes it's just easier to say nothing.
Right? And that's what we want to talk about today. Not grammar, not rules, just how do real people in real conversations talk about what happened yesterday? What do they actually say? How does it actually sound? Because that's what you need. Not a textbook, a conversation.
Exactly. And you know, by the end of today's episode, I think English is just going to feel a little lighter, a little less scary.
So if English sometimes feels stressful, if you've ever frozen up when someone asks about your day, stay with us. This one's for you. Okay, Bob, I want to ask you something. When English learners try to talk about yesterday, what do they usually get stuck on?
Oh, wow. I mean, honestly, the biggest thing I see? People know what they want to say. They have the story in their head. But when they open their mouth, they go really formal, like textbook formal. They say things like, "Yesterday I have woken up at 7 o'clock and I have eaten breakfast."
Which, okay, we understand it completely, but it just sounds a little stiff.
Yeah, and that's not their fault. That's just how it gets taught sometimes. And then people feel embarrassed when it doesn't sound natural. But you know what? Nobody is judging you, I promise.
Another thing I hear a lot, people say, I didn't went, or I didn't ate. And look, I want to say something really clearly. If you've ever said that, you are in good company. Like really good company. I've heard native English speakers make that exact same mistake when they're tired.
Yeah, that's the thing. Mistakes don't mean you can't speak English. They just mean you're speaking English, which is the whole point.
Exactly. And sometimes people get so focused on not making mistakes that they stop talking altogether. And then they feel like they're failing. But you're not failing. You're just overthinking it.
You know what else is really common? People know a lot of vocabulary, but when it comes to putting a simple story together, like I went to the market and then I came home and I cooked dinner, they freeze on those little connecting words. The and then, the after that, the so. Those tiny things.
The glue words.
Yes, the glue. And those are actually the most important words in a story. Not the big vocabulary. The glue.
And if that's you, if you've ever stumbled on the glue words, we're going to talk about exactly those later. So keep listening. Okay, Bob, I want to hear about a real conversation. Something that actually happened to you. Something where talking about your day or your week felt awkward or weird or funny. Can you give me something?
Oh, okay. So, this is actually kind of embarrassing, but okay. So last year I was in a meeting with some new colleagues. We're doing the classic small talk before it starts. And someone asks me, "How was your weekend?" Very normal question, very easy question.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and I quote, "Yeah, it was, good." And then, nothing. Just silence. I blanked. I had an entire weekend. I went hiking, I cooked a whole new recipe, I watched a movie, and I said, good.
Good. Just good.
Just good. And the awkward silence after that was a lot. And I'm thinking, I'm a native speaker. I have no excuse. But honestly, in that moment, my brain just didn't know where to start.
See, and this is exactly what I want our listeners to hear. Because I think a lot of people imagine that fluent speakers or native speakers never freeze up. They always have the perfect story ready, perfectly told. And that's just not true.
Not even close. I think the difference, and this took me a while to figure out, is just having like a small pattern, a small way to start. So instead of trying to tell the whole weekend, you just pick one thing, just one.
Ooh, say more about that.
So like, instead of, "My weekend was good," you say, "Oh, actually, I went hiking on Saturday. It was really nice." That's it. Just one moment, one detail. And suddenly the whole conversation changes. Because now the other person goes, "Oh, where did you go?" And now you're talking. You're not performing. You're just talking.
I love that. Because I think that's the real fear, isn't it? People think they have to tell a perfect, complete, well-organized story. And that pressure is what freezes them.
Yeah. And honestly, nobody wants the full story. They want a spark. Just give them a spark.
Did you hear that? Just a spark. Not a perfect essay. Just one small thing. I made pasta last night. I watched a really funny video. I went to bed way too late. That's conversation. That's real English.
And you know what's funny? The best conversations I've had, the ones that felt the most natural, started with something really small, really simple. So yesterday was kind of weird, actually. And then the other person goes, "Oh yeah? Why?" And you're off. You're just talking.
Yesterday was kind of weird. That is honestly one of my favorite ways to start a conversation. Nobody can resist asking why after that. If this sounds like you, if you've ever blanked on a simple question, hit the like button. It helps other learners find this podcast. And it tells us this is exactly the kind of conversation you want. Okay, so you've heard us use some of these naturally, but let's actually look at them for a second. Not like a lesson, just like, oh, that's how that works. Can I try something, Bob?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay, so someone asks you, what did you do last night? A lot of people would try to say, last night I was watching television and after I went to sleep. Which is fine, honestly. But here's how it would actually come out in a real, relaxed conversation. So last night I just ended up watching this show, and then I kind of fell asleep on the couch. Do you hear the difference?
Yeah. And it's not about being more complex. It's actually simpler in a way. It's just looser. More like how you'd think out loud.
Exactly. And words like ended up, that's such a useful one. I ended up staying late at work. I ended up ordering pizza. It means things kind of happened. You didn't totally plan it. It's very natural, very everyday.
And kind of, like we've both been saying that all episode. Kind of nice. Kind of weird. Kind of tired. It softens everything. It makes you sound real, not like you're reading from a script.
Oh, and here's one I love. Actually. Bob uses it all the time. Actually, I went hiking. Actually, it was really nice. It's like a little word that says, here's something more interesting than you expected.
Yeah, I do say that a lot. I mean, to be honest, I never noticed until just now. But yeah, actually just makes things feel more alive.
And the glue words, and then, so, after that, but then, these are what make your story flow. You don't need big vocabulary, you just need glue. So next time you're telling someone about your day, don't try to be perfect. Just grab the glue. One thing led to another. That's it.
That's actually a pretty good way to think about it. One thing led to another. That's every conversation.
Okay, so before we go, I want to say something I really mean. If you've ever avoided a conversation because you were scared of speaking English, I understand that feeling. It's real. It's valid. And it doesn't mean you're bad at English.
It just means you haven't had enough of these conversations yet. Relaxed ones, human ones, without pressure.
Exactly. And that's why we're here. Every episode, we want you to walk away feeling just a little more comfortable, a little more like, okay, I can do this. Because you can.
You don't need perfect English. You just need more conversations. And honestly, you just had one. You just listened to us talk for 20-something minutes, and you understood everything. That's not nothing. That's something.
That's everything. Okay, so if this episode felt familiar, if you've ever frozen on a simple question about your day, tell us in the comments. Seriously, write, "Yesterday was kind of," and finish the sentence. In English, just one line. You can do it.
And if you have a friend who's learning English or who's scared to speak, send them this episode, because this might be exactly what they need.
Like, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care, okay? You know that feeling when you start something with all this energy, like you're so excited, you can't sleep because you're thinking about it, and then it just kind of disappears?
Yeah, I know that feeling really well.
Like one day you're ready, you're motivated, you're telling yourself, "This is it. I'm going to be consistent this time." And then 2 weeks later, or maybe a month, you haven't done anything. And the worst part, you start feeling guilty about it.
The guilt is honestly the worst part, because it doesn't just stop you from starting again. It makes you feel like you already failed. Like, what's the point now?
Exactly. And I think a lot of people feel that way right now. Maybe you're feeling that way. Maybe you started learning English and you were so excited, and then life happened, and now you feel like you're too far behind, like it's too late to start again.
We felt that too. We really did. That's actually kind of why we disappeared for a while.
And today we want to talk about that. Honestly, no filters. If learning English has ever felt heavy, if stopping ever made you feel ashamed, stay with us. This one's for you. Okay, so, Bob, can I ask you something kind of personal?
Already? We just started.
I know. But do you remember how you felt when we first started this channel?
Oh man. I was so motivated, like genuinely. I was thinking about video ideas in the shower. I was writing notes at like midnight. I thought, this is it. We're going to help so many people.
And that's the thing about motivation, right? It feels so real when it arrives. It feels like it's going to stay forever. But motivation is kind of like the weather. It comes, it goes. You can't control it.
That's a good way to put it, actually. And I think, I spent a long time confusing motivation with discipline. Like, I thought I needed to feel excited to do the work. But that's not really how it works, is it?
No, it really isn't. I mean, there's this idea, and I think about this a lot, that we all wait for the right feeling before we start. Like, I'll study English when I feel ready, or I'll record a video when I feel inspired. But the feeling almost never comes first.
Right. The action comes first. And then, slowly, the feeling follows. I read something like that once. The idea that you don't wait to feel motivated, you just start. Even badly, even a little. And somehow that tiny action creates more motivation than waiting ever did.
And I think social media makes this so much worse. Because you see other people's progress. You see someone speaking perfect English on TikTok, or someone posting a new video every single week, and you think, why can't I do that? What's wrong with me?
And the answer is nothing. Nothing is wrong with you. You're just comparing your beginning to someone else's middle. That's never fair.
And if you've ever stopped studying English because you felt guilty or because you felt behind, I want you to know something. You were never behind. You were just human. Okay, so do you want to talk about what actually happened? Like, why we stopped?
Yeah, I think we should. Okay, so the honest truth is, I started feeling really embarrassed
Embarrassed? About what?
about the numbers. I know that sounds small, but we would spend hours, like actual hours, recording, editing, writing the description, making the thumbnail, and then we'd upload it, and it would get like 60 views, or 40, and I'd sit there and just refresh the page.
Oh, Bob, I didn't know it was that bad for you.
I mean, I didn't really say it out loud, but yeah. I remember one video specifically. I worked on it for 3 days. 3 days. And it got 22 views. I felt so stupid. Like, who was I to think anyone cared?
That's a really human feeling, though. I felt it too. I remember thinking, are we doing something wrong? Are we not good enough? Should we just stop?
And you know what's funny? I started avoiding making videos. Like I had ideas, genuinely good ideas, and I just wouldn't do them because I was afraid. Afraid of putting in all that effort and being ignored again.
That's self-sabotage, right? Like, you stop before anyone else can stop you. You protect yourself from disappointment by just not trying.
Exactly. And it feels safer in the moment, but it's not, because you end up feeling worse, not better.
Does that sound familiar to anyone? The moment when you stop trying to protect yourself from failure, but you end up feeling more stuck than ever.
And honestly, it took me a while to understand that those 22 views weren't the problem. The problem was the story I was telling myself about what those views meant. I was saying, nobody cares. You're not good enough. Stop. But that's not what 22 views means at all.
22 views means 22 real people sat with your voice for a few minutes. That's not nothing, Bob.
No, it's not nothing.
You know, I think what happened to us with YouTube, it's so similar to what happens to people learning English. Like the exact same emotional journey.
Oh, totally. I mean, think about it. Day 1 of learning English, you're excited. You download the app. You do the first lesson. You're like, yeah, I've got this.
And then week 3 arrives and it's like, where did all that energy go?
And the thing is, with English, unlike other goals, the progress is invisible at first. You don't wake up one morning and think, oh wow, I suddenly understand English now. It just doesn't work that way.
It's like, imagine you plant a seed and every day you water it. Every day, for weeks, and nothing happens. You can't see anything. And you start thinking, maybe nothing is growing. Maybe it's dead. Maybe I should just stop watering it.
But something is growing. You just can't see it yet.
Exactly. And I think this is something we don't talk about enough. The fact that every small thing you do with English, every podcast you listen to, every word you look up, every sentence you try to say out loud alone in your room. All of it is adding up, even when it doesn't feel like it.
See you next time. Bye.
Bye. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to English Podcast with Vanessa and Bob, where learning English is simple, natural, and fun. I am Vanessa.
And I am Bob. Hello to everyone listening at home, in the car, on the bus, or maybe while you are walking outside. Wherever you are, we are very happy you are here with us today.
Yes, thank you for joining us. Before we start our main topic, Bob, how are you feeling today? How was your morning?
My morning was very nice, but a little bit silly. I woke up feeling very tired. I walked into the kitchen to make my morning coffee, but I was so tired, I forgot to put the coffee in the coffee machine.
Oh no! So what happened?
Well, I turned on the machine. I waited for my delicious coffee. And then I poured myself a big cup of hot, brown water. It did not taste good at all.
That is so funny. Hot water is not the same as coffee. Did you make a real cup of coffee after that?
Yes, I did. I finally woke up and made a real cup. How was your morning, Vanessa? I hope it was better than mine.
My morning was very calm. I woke up, drank some tea, and watered my plants. I have some small tomato plants in my kitchen window, and they are growing very fast. It is very relaxing to watch them grow.
That sounds very nice and organized. You are much better with plants than I am.
Thank you, Bob. Well, speaking of things we enjoy doing in our free time, that brings us to our topic for today. Today we are talking about hobbies.
Hobbies. This is a great topic. A hobby is something you do for fun when you are not working or studying. It is a very important topic for English learners.
Exactly. Everyone has hobbies, or at least things they like to do in their free time. When you meet someone new, they almost always ask, "What do you do for fun?" Or, "What are your hobbies?" So, learning these English sentences is very useful.
Yes, it is one of the best ways to make a new friend. Before we talk about our hobbies, we have a small favor to ask.
Yes, if you are enjoying our conversations and learning English with us, please like this video and subscribe to English Podcast with Vanessa and Bob.
And please share it with a friend who is also learning English. It really helps our channel grow, and we appreciate it very much.
Thank you, everyone. So, Bob, let's talk about hobbies. How do you explain the word hobby to someone?
I think a hobby is an activity you choose to do. Nobody forces you to do it. You do it because it makes you happy. What do you think, Vanessa? And please share it with a friend who is also learning English. It really helps our channel grow, and we appreciate it very much.
I agree completely. A hobby is for pleasure. You do not get paid for it usually. It is just for your own joy. I already mentioned one of my hobbies earlier. I love gardening.
Yes, your tomato plants. Is gardening difficult?
It can be, but mostly it is just peaceful. I like to get my hands dirty in the soil. I like to plant a small seed and watch it become food or a beautiful flower. It helps me relax after a busy day. What is one of your hobbies, Bob?
Well, I really enjoy baking. I love to make bread, cookies, and cakes. The house always smells amazing when I bake.
Oh, that sounds delicious. I love walking into a house that smells like fresh bread.
It is the best smell in the world. But I have to admit, I am a slightly messy baker. I usually get flour all over my shirt, and all over the kitchen floor.
That sounds just like you, Bob. Have you ever made a mistake while baking?
Oh yes, many times. Actually, a few weeks ago, I wanted to bake sweet cookies. I mixed the butter, the eggs, and the flour. Then I needed to add 1 cup of sugar.
Okay, that sounds normal for cookies.
Yes, but I was talking on the phone. I was distracted. I grabbed the wrong white powder from the cabinet. I added 1 full cup of salt instead of sugar.
No way! 1 whole cup of salt?
Yes, I baked them. They looked beautiful. They looked perfect. I took a big bite, and it was terrible. It was so salty, I had to drink 3 glasses of water.
That is hilarious. I am sure you double-check the sugar now.
I always check twice now. That is why baking is a fun hobby, but you have to pay attention.
If you are still listening to our podcast, we want to hear from you. Please open the comments below and write the words, "My hobby."
Yes, write "my hobby" in the comments so we know you are here and listening to our stories.
Let's talk about different types of hobbies. There are indoor hobbies and outdoor hobbies. Indoor hobbies happen inside the house, like your baking, Bob, or reading. Reading is another big hobby of mine.
You read a lot of books, Vanessa. What kind of books do you like?
I love mystery books. I like to guess who committed the crime. I sit in my comfortable chair, drink my tea, and read for hours. It is very quiet.
That sounds very calm. Outdoor hobbies are very different. Outdoor hobbies happen outside in the fresh air. Things like playing sports, hiking, or running.
Do you have any outdoor hobbies, Bob?
I like hiking. I like walking in the forest near my house. It is good exercise, and I like looking at the trees and listening to the birds. But last time I went hiking, I got lost.
Oh, really? Wait, what happened?
I was looking at a very strange bird. I walked off the path to get a better look. When the bird flew away, I turned around, and I did not know where I was.
Were you scared?
A little bit, but then I heard a dog barking. I followed the sound of the dog, and it led me back to the main road. I was very lucky.
You should be careful when you go hiking. Always stay on the path.
I know. I also have another indoor hobby. I like to paint. I use watercolors to paint mountains and trees.
That is wonderful. Painting is a very creative hobby. Are you a good painter?
I am okay. It is just for fun. But I have another funny story about painting.
I am ready. Tell me.
When you paint with watercolors, you need a cup of water to wash your brush. So I had a cup of dirty paint water on my desk. Next to it, I had my delicious cup of coffee.
Oh no! I think I know what is going to happen.
Yes, I was looking very closely at my painting. I did not look at my desk. I reached out to take a drink of my coffee, but I picked up the wrong cup. I drank the dirty paint water.
That is awful! What did it taste like?
It tasted like paper and mud. It was terrible. I quickly ran to the sink. Now I always put my coffee on a different table when I paint.
That is a very good idea. Mixing up objects is a classic Bob mistake.
It really is. So let's talk about how our listeners can talk about their hobbies in English. We want to keep it simple.
Yes, you don't need complicated words. You can just say, I like or I enjoy.
For example, you can say, I like reading, or I enjoy cooking.
You can also use the word play for sports and games. I play football. I play chess. I play video games.
But remember, we do not use play for everything. We don't say, I play baking. We say, I bake, or I like baking.
Exactly. And if someone asks you, what do you do in your free time? You can answer with simple sentences. I wake up on Saturday. I drink coffee. I go hiking. Simple English is perfect.
I actually tried to start a new hobby last week. I thought it would be a nice, quiet, indoor hobby. I tried knitting.
Knitting? Using yarn and 2 needles to make a sweater or a scarf?
Yes, I bought beautiful blue yarn. I bought the needles. I sat on my sofa. I started watching the video on how to knit. But I forgot about my cat, Barnaby.
Oh dear, cats love yarn.
Barnaby thought the yarn was a toy just for him. He jumped on the sofa. He grabbed the blue yarn in his mouth and ran around my chair.
Did he ruin your knitting?
He ran around me 3 times. He tied my legs to the chair with the blue yarn. I could not stand up. I had to slowly untie myself while Barnaby sat there looking at me. I think knitting is not a safe hobby for a house with a crazy cat.
That is a great visual, Bob. Tied to a chair by your own cat. Maybe stick to baking.
I think I will. Baking and painting. As long as I don't drink the paint.
Let's review what we talked about today. Today, we talked about hobbies. We learned that a hobby is something you do for fun in your free time.